What's up, everybody? Tonight we're going to talk about Mario Barrios versus Pac Man. We'll be coming right back. Welcome to another episode of Ring Walk Boxing Podcast. I am Bean, and today we're going to jump right into this boxing talk, and we're going to talk about Mario Barrios versus Manny Pacquiao next week. Manny Pacquiao is up in age in his mid 40s, and he's making his return back to boxing, which is definitely one of his passions, because you would have to be very passionate to jump back in the ring in your mid 40s. And he will be taking on Mario Barrios. Um, and we saw Mario Barrios versus Tank Davis, but when you fighting Tank Davis, we all know he's a one punch knockout artist. That if he lands that punch and sets you up, he's going to get you out of there, and it's going to be a stoppage or whatnot. Now, so it's really hard to compare anybody to Tank because his power is very different. But with Manny Pacquiao, he has decent power, but his power is a punch accumulation. He punches from awkward angles, and he's real fast. He has real fast punches, and like we say, punches and bunches. Mario Barrios is taller. He has range. He has the length. He has the youth. So it'll be a. It's not a fight that I was really wanting to see, only because I looked at the age of Manny Pacquiao. But since the fight is pretty much here in the next couple of days, and like 6 more days from now, it's kind of like it is what it is. It's to the point of no return, and the fight will happen. Pacquiao can have an impressive performance at his age right now, or he can just be sent into retirement by the younger Mario Barrios. So we're going to see on Saturday for sure with these two gladiators when they meet in the ring. All right, give us a few minutes, y'all. A few minutes. Yes, so Mario Barrios is 29, 2 and 1. 18 by which are KOs, um, two losses and a draw. Okay. Um, he is age 30. He's an Orthodox fighter out of San Antonio, Texas. Um, he fought Jordanis Ugas and won by unanimous decision in the year of 2023. He fought Santiago that same year and won by TKO. Gervonta Tank Davis, he lost by TKO. Davis stopped him. And Keith Thurman, he lost by unanimous decision. Um, Barrios is a pretty good fighter, uh, but I'm not going to say that he's like a level fighter. Um, so it's going to be something to see Manny Pacquiao at his age to weather the storm. Because, like some people say, father time is father time. So we'll just have to see, if Manny Pacquiao can do the unthinkable. Manny Pacquiao, record of 62, 8 and 2. 62, that's a lot, y'all. So we know that his kind of like Canelo Alvarez, they have longevity and they have had a lot of bouts in their careers. Um, age 46, Southpaw from the Philippines. Now, he also fought Jordanis Ugas and lost by unanimous decision. Keith Thurman, he won by a split decision. Adrian Broner, back in 2019, the same year he fought Keith Thurman, he won by a unanimous decision against AB, Adrian the Problem Broner. 2018, Lucas Martin, he fought and he won that by a TKO. 2017, Jeff Horn, he lost by unanimous decision. He fought Tim Bradley back in 2016 and won by a unanimous decision. He fought Jesse Vargas in 2016 and won by UD unanimous decision. So I don't know, what y'all think out there about the Pacquiao versus Barrios, but I guess we'll just see what's up. Um, all right, yeah, we're gonna jump into some few other topics real quick because I won't be on here very long tonight like normal because I got family in town right now. So let me see. All right, so let's jump into the Shadeja Green. She fought on the women's card on Friday. After which she calls out Clarissa Shields after she defeated Savannah Marshall. We saw Savannah Marshall fought Clarissa Shields a while back, and Clarissa Shields outclassed Savannah Marshall. Shadeja Green. She looked okay, but neither of the fighters looked very good in the ring. So I'm just real. Shadeja Green would have her hands more than full with somebody like Chris Shields. I mean, Chris Shields, but I don't say that she'll probably be with lifelong. She's just a whole different level. She has ring IQ, she has defense, she has decent power, she has speed, she has head movement. Clarissa had a lot of good things from the amateurs and the Olympics and all that. So she's lucky. And Shadeja Green, she would just be close to touch for Shadeja Green. So right from here in Ohio, up north, Ohio native Alicia Bumgarner, she was a decision over Jennifer Miranda of Spain. Controversial decision in the eyes of many. Um, I don't know. I certain fights like that I need to run back a second time because some people say they feel that Alicia she did enough to pull it off. But there's a part of me to say I understand she's from Ohio, and I get it that people are very find her to be very attractive. She has the look and everything, but I personally felt like she lost that fight. I feel like Alicia Baumgartner lost, and I can attribute it maybe to ring rust because she hadn't fought in a while. So I understand she would be a little rusty, and she probably didn't take Jennifer Miranda. She probably took her lightly. That's what it seems like, in my opinion. But who knows? There's that potentially Alicia Baumgartner was going to fight the winner of Taylor versus Serrano when they had their trilogy. And unfortunately, that trilogy did not live up to its expectation because the first two fights were very good, and the second fight was definitely fireworks. This fight, it was a whole different Amanda Serrano. She was moving around like she's shadow boxing, punching in the air, not even in range of Taylor, who was a good counterpuncher. So she was setting her up all night for the counterpunch. And she tried a new strategy for whatever reasons. Amanda Serrano wasn't trying to have a dogfight. She said at the end of the fight, their game plan was to box more. But it's like if you couldn't win, giving it your all in a toe-to-toe fight, the only solution I can think is that you would have to go in there and try to knock her down or knock her out. But going in there just a boxer, it wasn't going to be a smart game plan. And as we saw, she came up short and she lost. So I feel that going back into the second fight, Amanda Serrano won. But in the fight this past weekend, the third fight, I feel as if she had lost. I feel like Taylor won the third fight, but Serrano won the second. I feel like the first fight could have been a draw. So, that's just, just what I feel it is. All right, so on the Saturday card, the men, we had a Puello who lost in a decision in a close fight to Matias. Some feel that Matias won, but then some can argue that Puello won. It was definitely a back and forth fight. It was definitely one of those type of matches where you're giving some and you're taking some on both sides of the spectrum. You know, Matias is giving some and he's taking some. You know, back and forth, or whatnot. It's definitely the type of fight that's controversial to where, excuse me, I need to run the fight back a second time because a lot of times you can see something in the second rerun that you didn't see in the first fight. You gotta look at the smallest little things that you may overlook. But it was a good fight. That was a good fight. That's actually, to me, the Matias fight was one of the better fights on that card. Now Morel, he won by decision over Katiev, and Katiev dropped Morel, and he caught him with an overhand. And early in the fight, if you notice, Morel was kind of sticking his tongue out, you know, kind of like hot dogging around and kind of trying to be like the he wasn't as far as Ben Whitaker does, but he was trying to be that type of fighter that was in there showboating to an extent. But after he got caught by that overhand, I think Katiev got his respect because after that he was more focused, and then he realized that, hey, this is a 10-8 round. I get dropped. I better get up. I got to get up and get back in this fight. So he started digging in those championship rounds. Some people don't agree with the decision that Morel won. Like I said, that's another fight I need to run it back myself. But I mean, I can understand if people felt that Katiev won because he dropped him and he was just as equal as far as what he dished out, you know, as far as his accuracy and his punches landed. He hit him with some good power shots as well. So I'm going to run that fight back myself. Shakur Stevenson, he won unanimous decision in his performance, and he showed levels against William Zepeda. Now, it kind of went to an extent of what I had imagined in my mind. It kind of played out the way I thought it would, but Shakur did step it up, y'all. I give him credit, man. You know, definitely like taking my hat off to him. He stood in the pocket a lot, you know, and got into some exchanges that he really didn't have to. There was a point in time where he got backed up on the ropes and he got caught with a clean shot, and you seen him look like he was a little hurt, but he didn't panic. You know, he scraped himself off. He never hit the ground, and he got back in there and started digging in. You know, so big shout outs to Shakur Stevenson. He had a good fight against William Zepeda. Now, with William Zepeda, although he has a good knockout ratio, his is more, he's finishing guys because he's aggressive, he's on the front foot, and he's throwing punches like a piston. He's constantly throwing punches at you, you know, to your head, to your body, to your head, kind of like mixing it up, but it's coming at a steady pace. He has a very high punch output, so that gives a lot of people issues with that style that he fights. But his output of total punches is insane when it comes to William Zepeda. But Shakur, being the smarter fighter and being the tactical fighter, he was able to hit him with clean shots, very accurate shots. Although his output of punches may have been less, they were more meaningful, and they were hitting the target. You know, he definitely he did his thing last night. You know, I got to give him his credit. So we don't know what we will see next. You know what I'm saying? Because of course Tank Davis had caught a DV case. I ain't gonna go too deep into that, but one thing I will say is, as Cam J said, we gotta let it play out through the legal system. But my hopes is that it wasn't something that was initiated by Tank Davis. Hopefully, it was something that wasn't prompted by him on why he would be physical against the mother of his child. Um, and given them circumstances, will it hinder his upcoming fight with Lamont Roach? If this legal situation interferes with Lamont Roach rematch, will Lamont Roach get a plan B, a backup opponent? Potentially, would he fight Shakur Stevenson? Maybe we see Shakur Stevenson versus Lamont Roach Jr. Or if Tank does still fight Lamont Roach, because maybe his trial or his court dates or something will be after the fact, after the fight. Maybe if that happens that way, we can see Kid Austin fight Shakur Stevenson. You know, so there's some good matches that still could happen out here pertaining to these guys in the 135-pound division. And of course, you know, when you look at the interview after the fight, Shakur once again calls out Tank Davis. So, like I said, it just so happened that the timing is Tank Davis is in trouble for something that happened on Father's Day last month. So we'll see how it all plays out. The Hamza Shiraz fight. Wow. That might have been the icing on the cake on this card, y'all. Hamza Shiraz versus Berlanga. Berlanga, who called himself the King of New York. Prior to the fight, we saw the antics of Hamza Shiraz, where Shiraz was in New York City, in Times Square, and random people walk up to him and he's asking them, have you ever heard of Berlanga? And everybody said no. So he was kind of trolling and making fun of him, saying nobody knows you in your own city. Well, anyways, come fight night, last night, it was pretty much somewhat of a slow start. They're both filling each other out. First round, second round, or whatnot. But then in a strange turn of events, I believe it was like the round 4. Shiraz, Hamza, he catches Berlanga with like a 4 or 5 punch combination with speed and accuracy, and drops him. He drops him, and it happened so fast. You see Berlanga on his back in the ring, and he takes his gloves and he does this, you know, like he's really upset, like, dang, how did I let myself get knocked down? So he rises back to his feet. The ref makes sure he's okay, and they get back at it. So he hits him with another combo, drops him again, and then they stand up. The ref's in between. He says, get ready to fight. And then I want to say that the bell at the end of the 4th had rang, so it kind of saved Berlanga. I don't even know if Berlanga realized where he was at, because he was definitely buzzed, and he was definitely hurt. So they come back into the 5th round, and Shiraz pounces on Berlanga once again, and for the 3rd time, he drops him, and the ref saw enough and waves the fight off. He gets a knockout victory over Berlanga, and a lot of people happen to be cheerful and happy to see Berlanga get knocked out because of what had transpired before the fight. He does do a lot of this. He does, whenever a fighter talks a lot, them are generally the fighters people like to see lose, because they run their mouth. If we go back in time with Muhammad Ali had a whole lot to say, and people wanted to see him lose a lot of times because he had a lot to say, and they said, oh, he's always running his mouth, this, that, and the other. So, yeah, Berlanga was knocked out uh, this past weekend. Um, Now I also saw something circulating. I wasn't sure if it was from Twitter or IG, but Turkey Alishake says Hamza now deserves Canelo in 2026. So it might be a trick up the sleeve of Turkey Alishake because I think Canelo had like a 3 fight deal. Well, maybe Hamza is one of the 3 fights because we know Bud Crawford is one. So maybe Hamza is, the second or third fight. We're going to see in 2026, y'all. If we see Hamza versus Canelo, what would be y'all predictions? Just let me know, hypothetically, if we get Hamza versus Canelo next year. What do y'all think? Mike, where you said, I knew Shiraz had a bad fight against, you talking about Carlos uh, Adams. All right, y'all. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button too. When you come on here, please hit the thumbs up. I'm going to wrap this segment up here shortly. I do want to talk about one last thing. Next Saturday, the rematch. Alexander Usyk versus Daniel Dubois. Um, I think the majority of you, which roughly I would say maybe 75%, at least 70%, of people say Usyk wins again. And they say he stops Dubois again. Me, I'm of the belief, in my opinion, is that he won't. I mean, that Usyk may win, but it won't be a stoppage. I think this time Dubois is going to be more determined. He's more focused. He's fighting at home in UK at Wembley. So he wants to prove a point. He's not coming to lay down, in my opinion. I feel like he's going to fight to the final last seconds of that 12th round and give it his all. Much like my guy Rob Elmore said, I do feel like the best chances of Dubois winning is from round 1 to round 5 because he wants to push the pace early and not be overzealous or not be too predictable, but he wants to go for an early round knockout because the further he gets in past round 6 and round 7, the more chances he has the potential to fatigue. Daniel Dubois, although he's in good shape, he's very muscular and very muscle mass. A lot of time, guys that are built like that, like Anthony Joshua, Daniel Dubois, Anthony Yardy, they say that all the muscles take up a lot of, I think it's the oxygen or something it does, and it'll tire them out in the late rounds. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out next Saturday. But I'm kind of like 60-40 Usyk. I sway more towards Usyk because of his overall ability of what he can do and his tactical skills and his knowledge of the sport. He's a southpaw. He's quicker, more crafty and things like that. But knowing what we know about Dubois, who's a power puncher, a huge puncher, he's aged 27. He's young. He's at his peak level of man strength. That's a dangerous guy. And he has the whole UK riding behind him. He's going to be at home fighting. So he has all that fan base out there that are looking forward to him winning and bringing those belts they want him to win and keep those belts in the UK. So That's a lot to ask for, but hey, it's definitely possible. And I just can't wait to tune in next Saturday for that showdown. So let me know what y'all think about Usyk versus Dubois rematch. What's going to happen next Saturday in that melee? Uh, Mike Ware, you said you're rolling with Canelo, but I wouldn't be surprised if Shiraz won. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Um, because man, he broke down Berlanga fast, fast and efficiently. Um, I didn't see a fifth round stoppage. If anybody got stopped, I thought it was gonna go at least 9 rounds, maybe 10 rounds. Um, but yeah, to stop him in 5 rounds, he wasn't messing around, and he dropped him 3 total times. Like so, Hamza wasn't playing no games. All right, y'all, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna keep this one short and sweet. Like I said, I appreciate everybody who tuned in tonight. Uh, like I said, if you come back at a later time to watch it